Cubs win the weekend, but miss out on a sweep due to the fact of, once again, Jameson Taillon just not cutting it. Today's question is very plain and simple. Is it time to cut the plug on Taillon? Let's talk about it right after this. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Listen, let's go ahead real quick. Fly that W two times. That's right, two times over. The Chicago Cubs did go ahead and win 2 games over the weekend, beating the Pittsburgh Pirates 2 times, an 11-0 shutout, and a comeback from behind victory also in extra innings. We love both of those games. Shodi Amanaga pitched like a man out of his mind. Matthew Boyd gave the Chicago Cubs a really, really strong start too. Like I said, I mean, very, very, very good outings by both those pitchers in this one. And we will see those pitchers in this next coming series also up against the St. Louis Cardinals. Hopefully we get a little get back over there. But listen, guys, it's time to cut ties with Jameson Taillon. I really don't know how else to put it. I don't know what else to say. But the writing's on the wall. Jameson Taillon is on the chopping block. And there is nothing. I don't know that there's nothing anybody else can do about it but Jameson Taillon. And I don't even know if Jameson Taillon knows what to do with it. This is nothing personal. Jameson Taillon has been a professional. He's battled injuries throughout his career, and he's been a great teammate. But the Cubs aren't just trying to finish above 500 anymore. They're trying to win a World Series. And that's why I believe, guys, that it is time to move on from Jameson Taillon. It's to the point where it's almost unwatchable. Now, in years past, since the Chicago Cubs brought Jameson Taillon to the Cubs, once he would go on the injured list, he'd come back, he'd retool, revamp something, he'd figure something out, tweak a couple things, and he'd come back and he would, be able to be at least at best solid for you for the rest of the season. And last year he revamped himself and came back and did amazing in the playoffs for the Chicago Cubs, literally shutting down the Padres and also pitching very well against the Brewers too. So you look at that and you say to yourself, I mean, is there hope for Jameson Taillon? Here's the difference in those versions of Jameson Taillon versus these versions of Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon among 129 pitchers with at least 70 innings pitched this season. 6.05 ERA. That's 125th out of 129. 6.85 FIP. 120. That ranks 129th out of 129 pitchers. A 3.03 home run to innings ratio. That ranks 129th out of 129 pitchers. And a negative 1.1 WAR, wins above replacement. That is 129th ranked out of 129th. If the Chicago Cubs are anywhere near serious about winning a World Series or competing for a World Series or even having an opportunity to play in the division series, you can't keep Jameson Taillon on this team past the trade deadline. And I don't know that any other team necessarily wants Jameson Taillon. And I think Jameson Taillon knows that it's bad. It's bad this season. Ryan O'Hearn hit a grand slam on Jameson Taillon. I mean, Jameson Taillon was just throwing meatballs right down the middle of the strike zone. No curve to him, no curvature to him. He couldn't find the strike zone, couldn't figure anything out. I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad, Jameson Taillon himself knows that it's been bad. Craig Counsell himself knows that it's been bad. Jameson Taillon this year has a 2 out of 6 record with a 5.92 ERA, 68 strikeouts, and a 1.36 WHIP. I mean, it's bad. It's really, really bad. I mean, Jameson Taillon cost the Chicago Cubs 2 games this week. The Chicago Cubs could have went 5-1 this week, and been easily have 61 wins on the season, and been very, very much more closer to the Brewers than they are. But instead, Jameson Taillon cost the Chicago Cubs this week. He dropped 2 games. I just I don't really know what else to do about JMO. Um, guys, first and foremost, JMO gives up way too many home runs. Nothing kills a baseball game quicker than the long ball. Since returning from injury, Taillon has been extremely homer prone. In his latest outing against Pittsburgh, he surrendered 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Overall, he has 25 home runs in only 76 innings, one of the highest home run rates in baseball this season. Listen, guys, Steven, my good buddy Steven, messaged me on Messenger on Facebook, and he pointed this out to me. Jameson Taillon has given up more home runs than Pete Crow Armstrong has hit. And Pete Crow Armstrong plays every day. And Jameson Taillon only pitches once every 4 days, every 5 days, and he was out for a month, and he still has given up more home runs than the leading Cubs home run getter. I mean, think about it like this: you can survive walks, you can survive singles, you cannot survive giving up multiple home runs every 5th day. This was the same problem we were having with Shota Imanaga, but Shota has figured it out. Shota has went back to the lab and he has figured something out. He pitched the gym head for head yesterday with Paul Skeens. And before the Pirates could get to Shota Imanaga, the Cubs got to Paul Skeens. 6 scoreless innings for Shota Imanaga in his last start. I can't wait to see what he does against the Cardinals because he owes them, because they shell shocked the shit out of him last time. But, you know, if he came back from injury and he started working back and his numbers started getting better, then, you know, we will feel better about this. But the reason, number 2, that it's time to get rid of JMO is because the numbers keep getting worse. And this isn't something that Craig Counsell can deny or just keep looking over. His current numbers includes an ERA over 5.30. He has a losing record. He has a whip above 1.30. He has a negative WAR according to Baseball Reference. Advanced metrics also paint a poor picture of what he's doing. Guys, this isn't just bad luck or bad health. This has become the trend with Jameson Taillon. This is who he is this season. This is who he is, and this is what he is. Since returning from injury, guys, he's been even worse. Many expected Taillon to improve after returning from his hamstring injury. Instead, his post-injury ERA has skyrocketed to 11.88, and opponents have continued to square him up consistently. Now, the Cubs don't have time to hope that he figures it out while they're chasing a playoff spot. The Cubs have to move now. When Jameson Taillon takes the mound, unlike when Matthew Boyd takes the mound, unlike when Ben Brown takes the mound, unlike when Cade Horton takes the mound, unlike for this season when Shota Imanaga takes the mound, the Cubs offense has so much pressure on them to score, and they almost bailed him out. They were 1 run away from bailing him out of this loss, but they just couldn't complete it. They scored 7 instead of 8. The Cubs offense has to play from behind far too often when Jameson Taillon starts. Instead of trying to score 4 runs, they're trying to score 7 or 8. That changes the entire game plan. And for the Cubs, you find them having to be more aggressive around the base path and at the plate because they're trying to drive in more runs to get this game back close. Guys, Jameson Taillon has failed the Chicago Cubs this season, point blank, period. And I really don't know what else to say or how this is going to get better. But it's time for the Chicago Cubs to choose better. And better options may already exist. One of the biggest arguments Who gives the Cubs a better chance to win? Many around the Cubs have suggested Javier Assad deserves another opportunity in the rotation after his strong work filling in during injuries. I mean, listen, Jameson Taillon and Colin Ray have filled in admirably over their time with the Cubs, especially Colin Ray, somebody that was brought in to be, somebody out the bullpen to stretch innings. But it's time to really start having a conversation about these guys moving to the bullpen and giving Javier Assad an opportunity to really, really pitch. Sometimes the answer isn't making a blockbuster trade. Sometimes it's trusting the best pitcher already on your roster, at least until you can make a trade. And then, of course, the trade deadline changes everything. If the Cubs are serious buyers, they're almost certain to add another starting pitcher, maybe even two. That means someone has to lose their rotation spot. The obvious candidate, guys, Jameson Taillon. When you talk about building a championship teams can't have weak links. Look at the best talented teams in the MLB. The Dodgers, the Phillies, the Braves. When October comes, every starter has to give you at least 6 quality innings. The Cubs can't afford one rotation spot that opponents circle as a game they can win. Jameson Taillon is the weak link. It's been identified. Everybody else has made adjustments. Everybody else has figured it out, except for Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon has consistently done terrible for the Cubs this season. He just has not completed what he needs to be. He has not been able to compete, and he's not giving the Cubs a chance to win games. So Craig Counsell was asked after the game, is Jameson Taillon going to be in line for his next start? Craig Counsell said this: we have to discuss what's best for the ball club. I expect Tommy Hotovy, I expect the rest of the pitching staff, and I expect Jameson Taillon to have a conversation. And guys, like I said, I full on expect the Chicago Cubs to make sure that Jameson Taillon doesn't get another opportunity to start. I would be very, very shocked if Jameson Taillon is your starter in his next start over the weekend against the Yankees. So here's my question to you, Cubs Nation. Would you rather keep hoping Jameson Taillon turns it around, or would you hand his spot to someone like a Javier Assad or a trade acquisition who gives the team a better chance to win? Because in my opinion, the Cubs have reached the point on where loyalty cannot outweigh results. That structure gives you a balance. That structure gives you a balanced opportunity to win every single game. And the Chicago Cubs need to win as many games as possible, especially if you're still trying to catch up with the Brewers. But that time may have gone and passed. Who knows? But as far as the Chicago Cubs' hopes in the playoffs, they cannot rest and lie on Jameson Taillon. It's time to cut bait.